Hey guys, B-Dog's Maths here again, B-Dog here for you. This is our first Key Stage 1 video so to help out Bradley and his mates who got a test on how to tell the time. So what I've done is I brought my friend out to help me with this one. So hopefully you enjoy it. Over to you, Brian. Hello everybody, my name is Brian Bear, and as you can see I am a West Indies cricketer. And when we play cricket, we have to have a clock on the wall so we can see what is going on. If there is a break coming, or if it's going to be too late to start the next over, and all these things. So telling the time is very, very important. So you need to know how to tell the time. And this is where me and B-Dog are going to help you to tell the time. So listen carefully and remember, practice, practice, practice. Alright, over to you, B-Dog. Thank you, Brian. So it's back over to me for now. I'm going to go through how to do this activity, how to tell the time. I'll try and go through it quite slowly, but if it's not slow enough or you didn't understand something, pause the video, go back, listen to it again, and hopefully you'll get there. Alright, so we're going to start off now. All the best, enjoy. Okay then, you Key Stage 1 people, I'm going to give you a bit of practice to do first of all, before we look at actually telling the time. We need to know which hour we're talking about. So the hour hand is the one that is smaller than the other one. So the smaller of the two is the hour hand. And I want you to practice something. So I'm going to look at a section at the moment. Let's have a look at the section between the 4 and the 5. So let me go from the center of the circle. I want you to have a look now. I'm going to split this up from the center of my clock in between the 4 and the 5, and I'm going to go halfway between the two like this. Okay. Now you should know by now that the hour hand always, well, both hands travel in this direction the same way as the clock, called clockwise. When I get over a number, I start to talk about that hour. As I get closer to the next hour, I start to talk about that hour until I get past it. And I'm talking about it until I get to the next one, and so on. So here, I'm talking about the 3. When I'm closer to the 4, I talk about the 4, and so on and so on. So let's have a look. When I'm in this section here, ooh, my pen's not working. When I'm in this section here, that section, my hour hand will have got past the 4. So that's why when I'm in that section, I know that my time will be something minutes past 4. So there the hour hand gets into this section here, and it's past 4. When I get to this section, I say the words 2:05. Alright, so what I want you to do when you get is look at your clock, see where your hour hand's pointing, and see if you can determine whether it's to 2, past 2, past 3, to 4, to 6, past 6, and so on. So this one here would be past 4. Whereas this one here would be 2:05. Okay, how many minutes past 4 and how many minutes to 5 will depend on the minute hand. First of all, go and practice looking at your hour hand and seeing if you can determine which hour you have to talk about. Okay, and then we'll come back about the minutes next. Alright, see you in a bit. Start a fresh piece of paper. Alright, so here we go then now with a new clock, and we're now going to look at the minute hand. Now as I said, the hour hand is a small hand, the minute hand is longer, because it wants you to be able to see these little dashes here, the minutes that are happening. Okay, so every big dash that you see here is 5 minutes. Your clock at home might be different, but you will see that every 5 minutes should be where the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, where they are. Okay, so that's every 5 minutes. But what we need to work on is the minute hand and how that works with the same past and the to section. Alright, so to do that, I'm going to chop this up. There you go. So So what I've done there is I've chopped my clock in half because the minute hand is the longer hand, and that's where we're talking about there. So if I'm in this section, then I would use the word past rather than to. So in this section, I would use the word past. Whereas if I was in this section, I would use the word to. So again, your next stage, after being able to really get the hour hand correctly, you need to be able to see the minute hand and saying, well, is that also saying past and is that also saying to? And what you'll find is that both the hour hand and the minute hand will tell you the same word. If it's the hour hand, it will land here somewhere and say, well, that's 12 o'clock. The minute hand will be somewhere also in this half. So you know that it's either to a number or past a number based on where the minute hand is or where the hour hand is. And that's your starting point. Your next bit is how many minutes past. How many minutes to. That's what you're looking at. So, like I said, every big dash here is 5 minutes. So what you need to be able to do at home is to count up in fives and know your 5 times table as well. So if I go to here and say 2 lots of 5 minutes, that's 10 minutes. This here is 10 past something. This here is 15 minutes past something. 20 minutes past. 25 minutes past, 30 minutes past. Okay, then we start to come to the harder part, the to section, and then our numbers change. So we go from 30 and then we come back down to saying 25 minutes to, 20 minutes to, 15 minutes to, 10 minutes to, 5 minutes to, and then the actual o'clock itself. Okay, so that's how the minute hand works. So have a look at the minute hand, see where it's pointing to, and see if you can decide how many minutes either past or to it is. Remember that these ones have got slightly special names. So this one is 5 minutes, and so is this 11, also 5 minutes. But this one is 5 minutes past, whereas this one is 5 minutes to. So if your hour hand points there, you know what's going on. This one down here is 20 minutes, 20 minutes. And so is this one, 20 minutes. But have you got it right to say that? This is 20 minutes past? Yeah. This is 20 minutes to? Yeah. So that's what happens. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and then 25, 20, 15, 10, and 5. And then the old clock is there. Okay, so can you look at the minute hand and see if you can see roughly, closely where that goes to? So if the minute hand's pointing to the 1, it's 5 minutes past. 5 minutes past what? That will depend on where the hour hand is. If the hour hand's here somewhere, you would say it was 5 minutes past 10 because it's gone past 10. And again, if you can do that from the first clock, and then you look at the minute hand from this clock, you can put the two together and you get a decent answer. Okay, so that's the minute hand. All right, have a go at looking at your clocks around and see if you can practice that. And then when you've got that right, come back to me. Hello, and finally then, the final part of telling the time so far is understanding the special words that some people use when they're telling the time. They will say that this 3 isn't 15 minutes, or they can say it's 15 minutes, but they will also use the word quarter. And they will use that same word for the 9 to quarter. They will also use for this word half. And then obviously for the 12, they will use o'clock. So if the minute hand is pointing to any of these, you would think about using those words rather than the 15s or the 30s. So you might use the quarter and say this is a quarter past. something. This is a half past something. This is quarter to something. Okay, so those are like the ones that you need to kind of also understand. So let's have a look and see if we get an idea, and then hopefully I'll leave you with the rest of it to practice, because like Brian and I've said, you can't do anything without practice. So here is the minute hand pointing to this one here. So here's the minute hand. There's the minute hand, and here's the hour hand. Let's go for here somewhere. The hour hand is pointing here. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's it there. Okay, so the minute hand is pointing to the 10, and the hour hand is nearly but not quite getting to the 5. So what time is that? Okay. Right, so you've had a chance to think. Let's get it right. The hour hand is saying it's 2 something, and so is the minute hand, it's in the 2/2. So therefore it must be 2 something. So the time is definitely 2 something. We know that it's going to the 5, so it's 2/5 somewhere. Okay, but the minute hand is pointing to this 10, and that 10 stands for 10 minutes to. Remember, this is 5, this is 10. So 10 minutes to. So we're going to say it's 10 minutes to 5 or 10 to 5. That's how we tell the clock there. Okay, so hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Have a practice, and I look forward to hearing if you found this useful. Okay then, take care, bye-bye. Hey, so that's B-Dog and Brian here now saying goodbye. Hopefully you enjoyed that first video. Remember, it's a long video, but pause it and practice the little sections that you need to practice. Make sure you understand those and then move on to the next bit. Yeah, it's there for a long time, so enjoy yourself. And yes, before you ask, my parents always cook. Take care, bye.